What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Two guys, one mic. We're all here this week. Our mic is back, better than ever.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. It's all
Good
good.
to have you back, brother.
Yeah, good to have
It's
you
always
back.
good to be back.
Got some things to talk about this week, fellas. We got a couple trades. We got some power rankings. I'll tell you my experience being in the stadium on Sunday at the Pittsburgh game and how god awful that was to watch. But yeah, it'll be a good show here now that we're all back and able to get some conversations going.
Oh, yeah.
Where would you like to start? You want to start with power rankings or trades? Or games?
Let's do the trades.
Trades? All right.
There wasn't a lot of them, so it won't be too much.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a lot. I'll run down it real quick. This is for the whole season, and then we'll go back and hit the big ones from the trade deadline. Cam Akers was traded to the Vikings this year. Van Jefferson to Atlanta. Chase Claypool to Miami. J.C. Jackson went to New England. Randy Gregory went to San Fran. McCole Hardman went back to KC. Street went to Atlanta. Rasul Douglas went to Buffalo. Donovan Peoples-Jones went to Detroit. Josh Dobbs to Minnesota. Ezra Cleveland to Jacksonville. Kevin Byard to Philly. Leonard Williams to Seattle. Montez Sweat to Chicago. And the big one, I would say, Chase Young to San Francisco.
True.
San Fran is like, dude, we gotta right this ship right now.
The rich getting richer.
Right? Reuniting Chase Young with Bosa.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Danger zone.
Yeah, they
Adding Chase Young to a already stacked defense. That's pretty deadly.
well, I've seen some things lately that the last 3 games, which they are now on a 3-game skid, a 3-game losing streak, other than Bosa, they've had a rush percentage of like 7. Like they're getting no
I'll tell you what.
no pressure from the other side.
I'll tell you what. They're now going to get pressure from the other side. I promise you that.
They got
Great
some
trade.
they got some players on that defensive line now. They got Bosa, you got Young, you got Kinlaw, you got Hargrave, Armstead, Fred Warner behind them. Like their defense is
It's scary.
yeah.
If we could ever pronounce that Palomalu impersonator.
Yeah, it's like
back there.
it's like
Hufanga?
yeah, yeah. That's I saw it today. But yeah, him Palomalu Jr. was called Palomalu Jr.
Yeah. I tell you what, with that trade, probably the most impressive part was a 3rd-round draft pick. I feel like that could have been a steal.
Yeah,
Steal of a deal.
I think so. I think San Fran definitely got the better end of that deal, I think.
And it's probably going to be a later. It's probably going to be a later 3rd rounder, right? Because I mean, you would assume that he's going to probably be, or the 49ers are going to be a contender. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
So
what I saw and what I heard was, the Niners got a couple of 3rd-round compensatory picks from their coaches leaving. D'Amico Ryans and the one guy who I think went to Washington.
that was KC's guy. That was KC's offensive coordinator.
I think
The head coach for not the one from the Jets you're talking about.
No, there's another pick that was. Anyways, they got 2 3rd-round picks, and they're most likely going to send one of those to Washington for this trade. So it is going to be like a later round pick.
Nice.
Yeah,
What's up for them?
Yeah.
I mean, so Washington has now sent San Francisco Trent Williams and Chase Young.
Yep.
So really nothing.
For nothing.
In the long run, I think it's definitely going to be, and I mean, probably it was smart on Washington's part, right? Because I think they're not going to. I mean, okay, team. I don't think they're anything special, but I feel like both of the guys, which we'll talk about the other one in a minute, probably both of them would have walked, right? After this year, they're in their contract year, so. I mean, it's smart to kind of unload on these guys, especially if they don't want to be there. So,
yeah, Washington had already decided not to pick up Chase Young's 5th year,
right?
So he was most likely out anyway. So, yeah, and then Montez Sweat going to Chicago for a 2nd-round pick. So they got more compensation out of Montez Sweat than they did out of Chase Young.
It's interesting, yeah, because obviously the Bears are probably not going to be, probably one of the better teams. They have a pretty hard division stacked up, I mean, but I'm sure the competition there is probably quite a bit better than obviously that 3rd-round pick. Sweat is a good player, though. I mean, he's another good defensive end, and I think he'll wreak havoc against some teams.
It's crazy. The one guy that actually came out and had a little tirade was the guy they don't end up trading. Because after Washington lost the Giants, there Jonathan Allen was in the locker room and he was talking going off about how he's sick of losing and he's just sick of everything, and then he's the one guy that stays and they get rid of the other guys.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, that was Jonathan Allen's tirade. I thought was his way of trying getting out of there.
Yeah, I thought for sure maybe he would be on the move, but
yeah,
unfortunately for him.
Right? It didn't work the way he wanted to.
No.
So what does this say for Washington right now? Then, are they giving up on the season? Because I mean, I don't think they're that far off of. They're 3-5. Like they're not that far off of the rest of the in the hunt contenders. Are they just giving up now?
I don't think so.
Or is this like an addition with subtraction?
I think sometimes you wonder if some of these players, you're not gonna, you don't want to pay them next year, so you probably get a little understanding of let's get value when we can, and then you never know. I mean, like we talked about sometimes. I mean, Chase Young wasn't really doing much for them, but I don't think that was his fault. Maybe, I mean, I don't know, but he's a great player. But it wasn't like he was a game wrecker like some of the players we talked about in the past.
Health issues. He had a lot of health issues.
Right. All right.
Then the other couple interesting ones I thought were the Giants sending Leonard Williams out to Seattle. Because the Giants don't have much on that defense, and now they're sending one of their bigger pieces out to Seattle.
They got some pieces. You just don't know it.
I thought the Giants were going to get rid of a lot more than just Leonard Williams, too. Like, I thought maybe Barkley could go. He's playing on a one-year deal. Maybe try to get something for him before he might just end up walking anyway. But, I was surprised to see only Leonard Williams, especially with the season the Giants are having.
Yeah.
I think again, when it comes to like salary cap, things like that, I think that was one of the other things where he's one of the higher paid players on the team that was older, a little bit older. I mean, he's not like old by any means, but I think a little bit older. I think it was a smart move on their part to get a 2nd-round pick for him. They still have Dexter Lawrence. They have a couple good linebackers on the back end, and I mean, obviously, I don't think they're hunting for a playoff spot, so if you can get a little bit of value for some of these players, might as well, right?
Yeah, and I think with the Barkley thing, I think that's their main. They're trying to lock that piece down for a lot of years, so they didn't want to trade him away. The other trade that I thought was really interesting was Arizona trading Josh Dobbs to Minnesota, because we all know Kirk Cousins got hurt. and he's now done for the season. And I think this kind of solidifies that Arizona wants to tank more than they care about winning, because Josh Dobbs was doing a decent job for them, and I feel like he was doing too good of a job, and they wanted to make sure they got rid of anything. Now I understand Kyler may be coming back, and they don't want to sit him on the bench for that, but I don't know. I just feel like this is getting rid of it because he's doing too good of a job, and we got to try to get Caleb Williams next year.
What they get for him?
I don't remember. I think it was like a 6th round pick or late round pick. I think.
It's not a bad little move for Minnesota, he obviously goes to a team with a little bit more talent now, so good little move for them to maybe still be competitive somewhat.
Yeah, I like the move for the Vikings. I do like the move for the Vikings.
I think just to kind of get the other side of the viewpoint, I do think that Kyler's coming back, and I think that he's a huge part of that team. You're gonna sit Dobbs. I mean, obviously with all his health issues, it's tough to probably have a guy like that walk away. He was a good backup. I did see a new mock draft, and they had Cardinals number 1. However, they did not go with Caleb Williams.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you guys about this too, because Caleb Williams has had a few games in a row where he struggled. Do we still think he's the top guy?
Not to this draft. Not to this mock draft.
Who
You know who they
they
went
have?
with? Yeah. Do you think who they would have went with? I mean,
Is it a quarterback, right?
no, it wasn't.
Is it Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because I think they wanted to stick. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? Because obviously, Caleb Williams could be this next generational player kind of situation, or I mean, you stick with Kyler, good quarterback, not like this amazing quarterback, but pretty good quarterback, and then you get this. I mean, they're comparing him to Calvin Johnson, so
Yeah, he's so far looking. Obviously, he's awesome right now, but will that go translate to the NFL? I think it will. I think he's that good, but I don't know. Caleb Williams also. I don't know. He might go back to college. Arizona wasn't on that list. I don't think. Was it?
Was it
No,
true?
it wasn't.
Is it true that he wants part ownership of whatever team drafts him, or is that an internet made up
I
thing?
did hear that. That's so stupid.
These kids are getting
Bro.
ridiculous with what they want.
You're not LeBron, man. Like, you're not like this. Like, in what I'm saying as far as LeBron, because I know you guys are, but you're not like one of those players. You know what I'm saying? You're not like, it's ridiculous. He's gonna be good, but
Yeah.
that'd be
It'd be
crazy.
tough. It'd be tough, like the way things are these days, for like a team like Arizona to tank because they think. Let's just say they think they can get Caleb Williams because these players are getting paid in college now. So if Caleb Williams says, "I'm not going to Arizona," he'll just stay in college again.
Right.
Because
Well,
he's already
You're
getting
taking it at
paid.
that point, like you said. Yep.
So like then Arizona, I mean, they're still gonna end up with somebody good, like maybe like a Marvin Harrison Jr. anyway. But I mean, if they're really tanking to try to get a top quarterback, and he says, I'm not going there," then it's the whole season was a waste for that,
Yeah.
But
Right. Like they've done it in the past, but Eli Manning pulled that, Mike Vick pulled it, John Elway pulled it. So it's been done in the past too, but I think you will see it a little more now, where if they don't want to go to that team, then they are making the NIL money, and they don't have to depend on that NFL contract to make it break right away.
I think it's a good thing. If you want to stay in college, I don't think it's a bad thing, right? I mean, stay in college, get your degree, make your money. you know what I'm saying, like if you come out, just play with the team. I mean, that you're going to go to, but you know, people have power, and if people want you, you know.
It's all about leverage these days, and they're now the college kids are starting to get leverage now.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I don't think there were really that many trades that were like worth really going over.
All right.
The other one, well, I had one too. Even though I didn't like it because it's a division rival, I think the Eagles getting Byard from Tennessee was a really good move.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of a little frustrates me sometimes. You know, like being a Cowboys fan, seeing that we're right there, and you see a team like the Niners who have been there lately, NFC Championship, Super Bowls, Philly, still making moves, trying to get better. Like, you're trying to get over these teams.
Right.
And you sit there and do nothing while the Niners go out and get a player like Chase Young and the Eagles go out and get Kevin Byard. So, it's a little frustrating at times, but, I mean, good for them, good player. And, I hate it, division rival, but still a good move on their part.
Right. Josh, I'm guessing you want to talk about Douglas?
Douglas is a beast, man.
I was a little. I do gotta say, I was a little surprised that Green Bay let him go.
Yeah, I mean he's a little bit older. We got a third rounder for him. So I mean, I as much as I loved him as a player, I thought he was pretty electric. That 1 year he had so many interceptions.
Yeah,
shut down another side.
Let's be honest. 2 years ago, it would have been a 6th or 7th round pick.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we got a lot of value for it.
That's great.
And the trade, I think it was a win on each side because I think Buffalo needed it, and I think Green Bay got what they needed. So sad to see him go, but I kind of like him in Buffalo.
Yeah. So. Then the other thing I saw was a few surprise names where there was a lot of buzz around them but did not get traded. Devontae Adams staying put. Brian Burns, there's a lot of talk about him being traded. He stayed put. Barkley, Danielle Hunter from Minnesota. Derrick Henry didn't go on the move. There was a lot of talk about Henry moving to either Baltimore or Dallas, or there was a couple other teams that were thrown around there. He didn't move. Nobody from the Broncos, really. Jerry Jeudy, Patrick Surtain, Cortland Sutton, they all stayed put. There was a lot of chatter about these guys possibly being traded. Mike Evans stayed put. There's a lot of talk about T. Higgins possibly being moved on from. He stayed put. DeAndre Hopkins, they started talking about him a little bit more and more towards the last week or so about being traded. He stayed. So there were some guys, there were some big names where there was a lot of talk about them, and they ended up not being traded. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty upset that the Steelers didn't try to make some, or maybe they did, but I didn't hear anything about it, but couldn't pull something off to get Patrick Surtain, or Jerron Johnson from Chicago was being shopped around. They couldn't pick him up. I feel like they need some more help next to Joey Porter Jr.
I think a couple of these teams got a little optimistic after they had some big wins on Sunday. And they're like, oh, maybe we're still, Denver just pulled off a nice upset against KC over, Sunday. And Tennessee saw what Will Levis can do coming in. And maybe maybe we'll just stay put.
That's possible. Anything surprise you that they didn't go on the move, Josh?
I mean, Mike and I talked about it a little bit. Derrick Henry not moving, I felt like it was kind of, I wanted to see him go somewhere where I feel like he could have had a chance to make the playoffs, make a difference on a contending team. I mean, who knows? But I mean, the season's early, and then the Broncos not selling. I felt like they should have done it as an organization. I felt like it would have been smart for them to get some of these players out of there to make that move. I mean, obviously they won 2 straight against 2 very good teams. So I think that was probably I think that was probably why, but it was a disappointing trade deadline in general.
Yeah, for as much talk as there was going up to the trade deadline, it was a very quiet trade. There was nothing that really splashed or happened.
Why make a move when Russ is cooking again? You know?
And for the second year in a row, it's the Niners with the big splash.
Yeah, they were the winner.
Yeah.
Last year they got CMC. This year they got Chase Young. So we'll see what happens. Which brings me into our power rankings that I found from Pro Football Talk again. There are some interesting moves on this power rankings that I don't know that I agree with. But let's run over these power rankings. We can talk about them, see what you guys think, see if you agree, you disagree, or, what's the deal with these things. We'll start at number 10 for the whole NFL. They have the Bills. 9 is the Seahawks. 8 is the Lions. 7 are the Cowboys. 6 are the 49ers. 5 is Kansas City. 4 Ravens. 3 Dolphins. 2 Jags. And 1 is the Eagles. That's who they have for the whole NFL. Any arguments?
Kansas City dropped quite a bit.
They did. Any arguments about this? What do you think?
I think I might switch a couple around, but I think the way Baltimore's been playing, the way they handled Detroit a couple weeks ago, I might move them to number 2 right now, honestly. And then I think I'd put Seattle a little bit higher.
Okay. I somewhat agree with you. The moves, I don't think Jags and Dolphins are 2 and 3. I just don't. We talked about this a little bit last week when I brought the rankings up last week. The Dolphins haven't really had a big win. They've beat the teams they should beat, and they've lost to the good teams. So I don't really see them at 3. I would probably have the Ravens at 3. And I would have KC at 2 still. I think that's what I would do. I would do Eagles, Kansas City, Ravens, then the Jags and the Dolphins. The Niners, I think they're... Last week I was like, oh, they're dropped a little far. I think they're still up there, but I think they are falling down. The only team I could see in here who I might squeak it in there, but I just don't know where, would be... I think the Bengals are on that rise up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they beat a good team in the 49ers. I think the 49ers are one of those teams that deserve to be kind of pushed down. We talked about it last week, and we're like, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. But you lose 3 straight. I mean, 6 is kind of even pushing it almost, right? At this point, it's like you wonder where they should be, but I think they're going to get back into the groove. I think the Jags for sure. I don't see their level of competition that they've been. Unfortunately, sorry to say that, Adam.
No,
with
it's
their
true.
wins, but I agree a lot with what you thought. So
Yeah.
for what your rankings were.
Well, and as much as I have my diehard love for the Steelers, we're not a very strong offensive team, and the Jags struggled to beat us. They scored 1 touchdown, and then they kicked a whole bunch of field goals, and they had a lot of favorable calls go their way. So I don't see them. What I saw in person did not make me think that they are the second team. I think they will lose or struggle against the Ravens. I think they would lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they would lose to the Bills. I think they would lose to the Bengals. So to me, teams that I think would lose to that many more teams, I don't think is a number 2 team. You know, their record says that they're really, really good. But once you start looking at it, who have they beat? I mean, they did beat the Bills, but that was in London and the whole circumstances and stuff. But I think if they played again, I think the Bills would take them.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I'm excited to see them play against these teams, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, they are 6-2. So, I mean, we could be saying this in 6 weeks, be like, well, they're actually a good team, and we got to put a little bit of respect on their name. So, I mean, obviously, I think they should be in the top 10. I think they should be, top 5. But, 2 might be a little stretch.
Yeah. I would say 4 or 5 is 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there is good for them. Then I went and I looked down at each NFC and AFC and how they ranked each teams in the AFC and NFC, and they have for the NFC the top 10 are we'll go 10. 10 is the Rams, 9 is the Saints, 8 is the Bucks, 7 Vikings, 6 Falcons, 5 Seahawks, 4 Lions, 3 Cowboys, 2 Niners, and 1 Eagles.
Packers were on that list.
They were they were just shy. I think they were 11 or 12.
Oh gosh, out of 15.
That's being generous.
Right. I mean, looking at the breakdown of the NFC, I don't think there's much I would change on that. I don't even know if there is anything I would change on that.
Maybe Cowboys a little bit less. I mean,
Maybe
they had a blowout, but.
Maybe put the Packers over the Rams. But I think that's pretty good. Then the AFC. This is what the AFC I have issues with. Number 10 is Texans, 9 Browns, 8 Steelers, 7 Jets, 6 Bengals, 5 Bills, 4 KC, 3 Ravens, 2 Dolphins, and 1 Jags. They have the Jags as the number 1 team in the AFC.
Oh.
And even though we've already talked about this, I feel like the Jags and the Dolphins should not be ahead of the Ravens and the Chiefs for sure. And the fact that the Bills already took care of the Dolphins, I might even put them ahead of the Dolphins too. And then
what about
the Bengals?
What about your Steelers? Sorry.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, they went down quite a bit they were top 10 of the NFL, and then they went all the way down to 8.
But that's the 8 of the AFC, which I think when I'm looking at these back and forth, I think it would be they would have fallen from 10 to about probably 13 on the NFL list.
Okay.
Which I think was more what we were talking about. I think that was more where they were last week anyways. Their record just said they were the 10th, which
4-2, and then
but I think
if they had a better play caller, they'd be all right.
Dude, if they had an offense, they'd be good. If they had an offense, they'd be amazing. But they don't. We'll get into that when I talk about.
If I had $1 million, I would be rich.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We don't get what we want.
What I'll tell you about what I saw there. When I talk about what we saw there later, well, you'll understand what I'm saying. So, yeah, the power rankings were interesting. I thought the AFC's an interest. The NFC, I think they're kind of spot on. I think they're pretty good, but the AFC, I was kind of interested in.
I'm gonna say this, and this might be a bold topic or bold prediction. Sorry. I'm gonna say it kind of continues to flip flop the whole year. I think last week, Bowen, I said that I feel like the NFL doesn't have a clear number 1 team, even though the Chiefs were looking better. However, this week they lost to the Broncos, right? So I feel like it almost has made that feel even more clear. Like, we're not seeing dominance now. We're seeing more of these even keel teams.
Yes.
It is tough sometimes too. I mean, those divisional games. Yeah, I mean, because even the first one that KC beat Denver, it was pretty close, I think. And look at the two games Washington's played this year against Philly. I mean, neck and neck the whole game. So I mean, them division games, you never know what's going to happen in those games.
Well, and like people have always said, you build your team to beat your division, and then you play other people.
Yeah.
You know, so that can roll us into like pretenders and contenders. I took the top, I don't know, like 12 teams or something like that from each division, and we can run through them, and I'll give you the records and where they are, and you can say whether we think they're a pretender or a contender.
This is contender for playoffs, correct?
No, I would say like have a chance for a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Not necessarily to win the Super Bowl, but have a chance to like get there.
Okay.
So we can start in the NFC. The NFC is led by the Eagles at a 7-1 record. Do you think that record's good? Do you think they're contenders, or you think that record is misleading and they're pretenders?
Yeah, I think they're contenders for sure.
Yeah, I think they got to button up some things, but I think I definitely wouldn't say pretenders by any means.
Yeah, I would give them a contender label as well. Best record in the NFL right now, by the way. Then second seed in the NFC right now is the Detroit Lions at 6-2. Do you think they're pretenders or contenders at 6-2?
I'm gonna say contenders.
Okay.
I also think they are contenders as well.
Okay. I'm gonna clean sweep that one too. I think they're contenders. I mean, obviously they show they can hang with teams like Kansas City, but they also get blown out by teams like the Ravens. So I do lean more towards the contender side of it. Then the fourth ranked is the Seahawks at 5-2. Do you have
three?
Yeah.
Or three. Sorry, 3. Seattle at 3 at 5-2. Pretender
really?
Or contender?
They're number 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they got the same record as Dallas, but they're a division leader right now because San Fran 5-3.
Yep.
So I think that's why they got the higher speed right now.
San Fran's got one more loss. That's why they're above them.
This one's tough.
What's their record? What's San Francisco's record?
5-3.
5-3.
And Seattle's 5-2.
I'm sorry. 5-2 because they're by. Okay.
Back to Seattle real quick. This one's tough, but I'm gonna say a pretender. I think they're a playoff team, but I don't think they're a Super Bowl team.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird. I haven't seen enough. from them. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know their record right now, but I just don't feel like Geno hasn't looked the same as last year, and I think that's where I feel like their offense isn't as good as that it seems like. So pretender for me.
Yeah, I'm right along the same lines. I'm gonna go pretender. I was a little shocked that for some reason I thought they had lost more games than they actually had. But again, I don't really know who they beat to be at 5-2. So, but I'm gonna agree. I think they're a pretender. So then the South record, or the South leader right now is actually Atlanta at 4-4. I'm just gonna go out there and say anybody from the South is a pretender.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any way that they could be able to compete with these top teams.
I mean, it's
gonna be another one of those situations that we've seen in recent years where that South winner could get in at under 500, and someone's gonna have to go there and play them.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I feel like this could be a same situation we were looking at last year, where we're like, oh, Carolina's starting 0 whatever, and they're going to be horrible, and then all of a sudden, last game of the season, they're playing for the division title. You know? So I think everybody in that division is going to be a pretender. And then the number 1 wild card is Dallas at 5-2. What do
I'm gonna, contender.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, after this week, obviously, I thought the Rams were way better than they really showed. But Dak looked good this week, which is, I think, if he plays the way he played this week, and their offense was moving the way that they were doing, I mean, I think they could beat anybody, right?
Well, this is a big week coming. I mean, it's Philly week, so this is the same type of situation that you get when you guys play the Vikings or you guys play the Ravens or something. I mean, this is, if he goes out there and does that again, it really takes my thoughts of a contender to the next level here.
Okay. I will edge towards the side of contender, but I think they could swing to a pretender pretty easy too. I think a lot of teams in the NFL this year are right on that borderline. We'll get to it, but Steelers included, I think, are borderline. But if Dallas's offense can keep playing the way it did last week, and like you said, Philly will be a good test for them, then I think it does shift them to the contender side of it.
It's kind of what people say about Miami. Miami hasn't had that signature win yet. They're blowing out teams, or at least beating teams that they're supposed to beat. And that's, the one signature win or signature game that Dallas has had so far. Obviously, the Niners took it to them pretty good. So this is a big test this week. Big division game in Philly. If they can come out and keep up with and beat them, then obviously I think those talks of a contender go way up even more.
Yeah. So then the second wild card team currently is the 49ers at 5-3. Are we thinking pretenders or contenders? They're on a 3-game losing streak. Where do we think we're going with this one?
I think they're still contenders.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the team where I don't think any team wants to play against them or see them in the playoffs. If they were a wild card team, I think everybody would be pretty scared. So, I mean, they only keep on getting better, even though they've lost 3. I think their team in general, once they're healthy.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say injuries have kind of hurt them, but they made some moves. They brought in some splash names, so I think that kind of keeps them on the contender side of things. So for right now, I'll go with contender still. And then the third and final wild card spot belongs to Joshua's favorite team in the whole wide world. The Vikings are at 4-4.
The Vikings are 4-4.
And they have the third wild card.
That's disgusting, to be honest with you. NFC, what are we doing?
I'm gonna make you happy, Jack, because they're pretenders, especially now with Cousins going down.
Yeah. We know my answer. I mean, but truthfully, as a future NFL analyst, I have to say that Kirk Cousins not being with the team is a huge loss, and then also Jefferson being hurt. I mean, it's not great, but I will say they did turn it around a little bit. I mean, they won, I think, 3 straight. So
yeah, this is another one of those that I think can go either way. I think they are definitely more on the pretender side of it. It'll be interesting to see what Josh Dobbs can do when Jefferson comes back, if he does come back. So there's a chance for them to go contender.
He is absolutely. You should go marry that man because.
Listen, I mean he's a serviceable quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. They could be a
contender.
Dude, they could be a contender. Look at them right now, 4-4.
Super Bowl contender.
4-4. They could be
out of your mind. You are beyond out of your mind.
No, they are pretenders.
What you got in that cup, bud?
They are pretenders. So no, they are pretenders. I was just messing the whole time. Then are in the hunt teams. The Saints, the Bucks, the Rams, Washington, and the Packers. Do you see contenders out of any of those?
All of them garbage.
All of them pretenders.
I'm still sticking by
This team.
my Saints to be a playoff team, but they're not a Super Bowl team.
Yeah. So.
They're not 12-5 team.
Oh, they can still get there.
They only got to lose one more time. They got one more loss they can have.
Jets already blew it. They got 3 losses already, but Saints, they can still do it.
So, but then that brings us to the AFC side. So all division leaders right now, Kansas City, Miami, Jacksonville, and Baltimore, are all 6-2. Do you see them all as contenders? Do you see only a couple of them as contenders? What do you think?
I think they can all be contenders.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we talk crap on Jacksonville for not playing anybody, I think they're a good team. Obviously they're going to have to, prove it to us, prove it to the world. But I think all of them are good teams that could possibly, win the Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm gonna say they are all contenders with my warning to Miami and Jacksonville, which I was saying before. I think they could easily slip to the pretender side, but as of right now and the way they're playing, I think they are all contenders. Which then brings us into our 3 wildcard teams. Buffalo is at 5-3, Pittsburgh is at 4-3, and Cleveland is at 4-3. Any things in there with contenders and pretenders?
I would say out of those 3, I think Buffalo could be a contender. The other 2 pretenders. I think some Pittsburgh or Cleveland, maybe they can both sneak into the playoffs, but I don't think, at least right now, they have a Super Bowl run in them.
Okay.
I agree. I think the Bills could easily take back the reign of their division. The only thing I would say, the Steelers, I think, need an offense, and I don't think that's happening right now. And I would say Cleveland's defense is really good. Can Deshaun Watson revert to his old ways? If he reverts, then they definitely have a chance. If not, which is going to be probably the likelihood, then they're pretenders for sure.
Yeah, the thing with both Cleveland and Pittsburgh is they got defenses that I think could keep, stay in the game with anybody, but once you get playoff time in that conference, when you're playing the Josh Allens and the Mahomes and Lamar Jacksons, right now they don't have the offenses that's going to keep up with them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go side with you guys. I'm gonna say Buffalo is a contender. Pittsburgh and Cleveland right now are pretenders. Being at the game on Sunday and watching that offense play, Aaron asked me how come they always throw the ball to the side. And it's for real. Like they don't go downfield very much. And then when they do, I think Kenny still just has some growing pains to go through. He missed Deontay Johnson wide open in the end zone, threw it behind him. Their defense is on the field the majority of the game. And as good as they're playing, as well as they're playing, and they're holding teams to field goals, if the other team's kicking 4 field goals and you're kicking 2, you're not going to do anything. It's just the Pittsburgh's offense is definitely making them a pretender status. Now, if they could fix it, they could make a run. They haven't fixed it going into week 8. I don't know if they're gonna fix it, or 9 or whatever it is, week 9. They just haven't fixed it yet. I don't know if they're gonna fix it. Same with Cleveland. They're another one that shows up strong one week and then doesn't show up the next week. So I don't know that they are contenders yet either. I think they're still pretenders.
Hey, you know what? a good offensive coordinator just got fired. Go get him.
That thought crossed my mind today. I thought to myself, when will NFL teams realize McDaniels is not an NFL head coach, but he's a hell of an offensive coordinator? And I don't think I would mind if Pittsburgh went in and brought him in and got rid of Canada.
I thought you were talking about Lombardi. I'm like, he's a hell of a coach.
He's willing to throw it downfield. He's willing to take risks. So it could be a shot that Steelers need, but I don't see it happening. He's going to go back. Whoever's the offensive coordinator in New England right now, might as well start packing up their office.
Go, Brian.
Because he's going back. He's going to.
Yeah.
But and then our other teams in the hunt are the Jets and the Bengals at 4-3, the Titans, Texans, and Chargers at 3-4.
I think the Bengals can definitely be contenders, and it could be a little bit of a stretch, but if the Jets stay competitive and they could be there and Rodgers somehow makes a return with that defense, I think they could be contenders. They're pretenders right now, but I think if that happens, they could definitely be a contender.
Okay.
I mean, I love it, bro. I love it. I think the Bengals definitely are hot right now, and we'll see what happens. They're a good team. I mean, definitely slow start to the season, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. That division is really good, so who knows what's going to happen in that division? And then, I mean, hey, throw a miracle.
Yeah.
Jets.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon. I'll take the Bengals. I'll take the Bengals. They started slow last year and picked up, and it seems like it's the thing they're doing this year. They're starting slow and they're starting to pick up. They're starting to roll now. I would probably have more confidence in the Bengals making it than I do in Pittsburgh or Cleveland for sure.
I'm with you there, man.
I could even see the Bengals taking over for the Ravens by the end of the year and being the lead of the division. So I will put the Bengals as contenders. The Jets are pretenders, I think, for right now. They have that chance to jump up into contendership. I'd say the Jets, the Browns, and the Steelers are all in the same. They're on the pretender side now with a chance to maybe move to the contenders, most likely not. And I think the Bengals are the only ones that I could see making a move up that list.
Yeah.
So
Jets should have got Dobb, man. They would have been. If they got Dobb, man, they would have been 100%.
You'll put some respect on the man's name. It's Dobbs. It's not Dobb. It's Dobbs.
Sorry. They couldn't even get his jersey. No wonder why he couldn't get the jersey at his play, man. They traded him.
Yeah, right. All right, so that's our talk down real quick of what happened this past week. I tell you, at the Steelers game, it was crazy. Rain the first half, kind of miserable. Teams weren't playing very well. A couple injuries. Refs were absolutely horrible. I've never seen this before, but there were fans on both sides, all in unison, chanting, "Refs, you suck." And while they chanted that, Josh Allen from the Jaguars was on the field going like this, telling them to get louder, and all the calls were going for the Jaguars. So when both teams and both fan bases are all united against how bad of a job the refs are doing, I think at some point the NFL is going to have to step in and start evaluating these refs. And they're just making some really bad calls lately. The other thing was they didn't play Renegade, and I was very pissed off about that.
It was probably all in all a cool experience. So
yeah, it was still great. I got on the Jumbotron. We were only 5 rows up, and we could see the guys with the cameras like turn around and point towards us. And I looked up at the Jumbotron, and the guy in front of me was on it. So I stood up real quick, and I started like waving behind him. So I was on the Jumbotron.
Cool.
Yeah, I made it to the Jumbotron. That was pretty cool.
You're famous, man.
Yeah, right?
You should have pulled up your shirt and was 2 guys, 1 mic.
Right? So that was pretty cool. Overall, it was a cool experience. I mean, like I said, we were 5 rows up, so it was worth it. The only problem was we were on the Jaguars tunnel instead of the Steelers tunnel. But it's still cool to see, like, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, Josh Allen, all these guys coming out right in front of us. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, to go against a team in the Jags who they probably didn't know, I mean, they were, probably going to be the division leader, but to be 6-2 to go against them, I mean, kind of a good game to go to.
Yeah. It is unfortunate that Kenny got hurt and Minka got hurt. But it was still, I mean, 20-10 wasn't too bad. The offense was pretty horrible for Pittsburgh, but their defense was really, really well. We forced 3 turnovers, and there was an interception in the end zone that happened right in front of us. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, but now we'll go on to our pick'ems for the week. Last week, low man on the totem pole was Josh again.
Not again. Last week.
2 out of the last 3 weeks has been you, bud. It's again.
Okay.
Again.
But you know what? But last week was you, so let's clarify to our fans.
I mean, it can also go, but the 3 out of the last 4 weeks have been you, so we're okay. But
let's see rankings.
Low man was 7-9. I came in second at 9-7, and Mike had a second best week of the season for everybody with 13-3.
Oh boy.
13-3. So he did well. That brings us to, where did it go? There it is. Low man on the totem pole was the champ from last year. That's me. I'm at 66-56. Mike, you are in second at 70-52. And Josh, you're at first with 74-48.
Oh, I'm coming for you.
So,
but the crowd right here, baby, still.
I'm
hot on your tail, though.
You guys are doing way better than I am, so. But for this week, I am home with William by myself, and he really wants to do some pick'ems with us. So do you guys object to William stepping in real quick?
No.
All right, buddy, come on.
Objection denied.
What's up, bud?
Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
All right,
Hi,
so
Bill.
we're going to go and run through these games real quick, starting with my Steelers on Thursday night this week. We have the Steelers or the Titans.
I like the Steelers.
William's going with Steelers.
Oh. This is a tough one to start off with. I think.
Kenny back, by the way? Kenny back?
He is supposed to be back. That's what the reports were today.
Okay.
But he's got bruised ribs or something, so who knows how well he plays.
That's good and bad. That makes this decision a little easier. I'm going to go Tennessee.
All right, Josh?
You know me with the new hotness. Levis with 4 touchdowns. Bring it on, baby.
All right. The next game we have... Ooh, this will be a good test for Miami. It is
Who were you going with? We didn't know.
Oh, I'm going to Steelers. Come on now. This is the Germany game, I believe. It's at 9:30 on Sunday. The 6-2 Dolphins versus the 6-2 Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Chiefs? Good pick, man.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to bounce back. I'm going to take Chiefs.
Okay.
Let's see if Taylor comes to Germany or wherever it is with her man. I would love to put an asterisk on this. However, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think they proved to themselves this week.
Okay. The Dolphins have not done well against good teams, and I don't think the Chiefs lose 2 in a row, so I'm going Chiefs.
I'm going Chiefs.
Good job. Then we got the Vikings or the Falcons.
Pick wisely.
What do you think, bud?
Vikings.
Vikings for the William.
kid.
Mike, what you got, bud?
I'm going Falcons.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Josh, I know where you're going. But let's just make it official.
Taylor Heineke's
I'm sorry.
Falcons.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Taylor Heineke versus Josh Dobbs. And I don't think Dobbs has the playbook ready. So I think they're going to look pretty ugly. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
And I'm riding with the Vikings, man. Josh Dobbs is going to come in and show you what's up. He don't need no playbook. He just needs to run out there, run it, and throw it, man. He's got it. The Vikings over the Falcons. The next one is the Cardinals and the Browns.
Cardinals.
Ooh, going with the upset for the Cardinals.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not going with Will. I'm going with Cleveland as well.
Obviously, they got rid of Dobbs. They don't want to win. I'm going with the Browns as well. All right, buddy. You ready for this one? Mm-hmm. The Rams or the Packers?
You know what team my favorite team is?
Who?
Wonder one is it?
So Rams or the Packers?
You know the Rams are my favorite team, so I'm going with Rams.
Rams going Rams. Mike?
I'm gonna go with Packers.
Okay.
First time for everything, you know. Yeah, I picked the Packers in a while, and I tell you, I'm going with this guy because he's hit Packers for the past couple weeks pretty nicely. I think this is going to be a tough game either way. I don't think either team is very good, but you know, I'm going to have to go with my boys.
Okay. I just want to let you know that on my screen, you thought you were pointing to Mike, but you're really pointing to the empty wall.
How about that? That's over there.
I'm riding with my boy. We're going Rams. Next game is the Commanders and the Patriots.
The Commanders are also my favorite team. I could do Commanders.
Commanders. Okay, William's doing Commanders. Mike, what you got?
I'm gonna go New England.
He's going Patriots. Josh.
This is tough. They go Washington.
All right, and I'm going with Josh and William on this. We're going Washington. The next game is the Bears versus the Saints.
The Saints are also my favorite teams. I'm going with Saints.
Saints. You'll pick up a theme here in a minute. Mike, who you got? You gonna ride with your Saints? They only get one more loss.
Yeah, let's go Saints.
All right.
Who was the other? I don't even remember that.
Bears or Saints?
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Bears. The Bears.
Oh, Bears. The Bears. Yeah, I'm gonna go with these guys. New Orleans.
Okay. I really want to go with the opposite and just be an upset here. So I'm going to say the Bears.
There you go.
The next one is the Seahawks or the Ravens.
Seahawks are my favorite team.
Seahawks for William.
Your favorite team, eh? Wow.
I'm gonna go Baltimore.
Yep.
I also am gonna go Baltimore.
Okay. Shocking news here for you guys. I'm gonna go with Seattle. So.
We'll see if they're pretenders or contenders.
Yeah, right. You gotta stop pushing it. Next, we have the Buccaneers or the Texans.
Buccaneers are my favorite team. Buccaneers.
Where are you going, Mike?
I'm gonna go Bucks.
Okay. Josh?
you remind? I'm sorry, I laugh every time with his. Who was the other team?
Texans or Bucks?
Texans. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Who's home?
Texans.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go Texans.
All right, and I'm with Josh on this one. I'm also going Texans. Next, the Colts at the Panthers.
Colts.
Okay.
Yeah, Colts.
Okay.
Panthers.
Nice.
Oh, Josh ruins it.
I didn't want a clean sweep.
I'm also going with the Colts on this one.
Oh my.
Oh.
The next one is the Giants or the Raiders.
Raiders.
Ooh, Raiders for William. Mike?
I'm gonna go Raiders.
So my mom, I talked to her today, and she goes, she's like, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be one of those games where they're going to be rooting for the new coach, and we know who the new coach is, right?
Yep. Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, a previous Giant,
Yep.
a real good Giant, she's not very optimistic. However, I am, and I think the Giants are going to win this.
Okay.
Giants.
I'm throwing out the respect for Mama, and I'm going with the Giants as well. We're going to roll with the Giants. The next one is the big game we are talking about. We got the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Ooh, that's a hard one for me.
Don't do it, William.
Cowboys or Eagles?
You like birds? Birds are cool, right?
Don't do it, buddy.
Cowboys.
There we go.
Okay, I just forgot.
Cowboys. Yeah, that's what I like.
Oh.
All right, Josh, what you doing?
Yeah, Eagles. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a good game, but I think the Eagles are more dominant.
They played once already, right?
No.
No, they haven't played yet?
No.
All right. Ooh, it's in Philly. I was gonna go with the Cowboys, but it's in Philly. I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
I'm gonna go with Eagles.
You're changing it to the Eagles?
Hey, William.
All right. The next game is the.
Did he switch it up?
He switched it. He switched it.
I'm done.
The next one is the Bills or the Bengals.
Bengals.
Oh, going to the Bengals.
Oh.
Mike.
I'm gonna go Bills.
Okay. Josh.
This is where I feel like we're starting to get a little bit more into the Bengals starting to climb up.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals are. I think the Bengals are it. They're in.
All right, so I'm going to roll with Josh and William on this one, and I think the Bengals are starting to turn around. I think this will be a statement game. I'm going Bengals as well. And then our last game, our Monday night game, is the Chargers at the Jets.
Jets.
Ooh, nice pick, man. What do you think, Mike?
I'm actually gonna go with the Jets too.
Okay.
I'm going with the Jets.
What?
Clean sweep on a Monday night.
Wow.
I think that's our first clean sweep. I think that's our first clean sweep.
That might be
baby.
our only clean sweep of the week. So. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's what it is. We'll have to see what happens next weekend. We got some good games coming up. Some good games.
Thank you, William, for helping us.
Yeah, good job, buddy, except for your Eagles pick, but I'll let it slide.
So. All right. Well, for one more week, fellas. 2 guys
One Mike.
and Will.
Let's go.
Peace.